All right, let's talk about the one class that should have been mandatory in high school, but somehow wasn't. We're talking about money. So think of this as the crash course you never knew you needed.
You know, it's funny. I'll bet you remember from biology class that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, right? That's one of those facts they drilled into our heads. But what about how to actually manage your own money? How to read a credit card statement? What a 401k even is? Yeah, for most of us, crickets. And that silence, well, it has a real cost.
So what's that cost? Well, turns out it's basically a failing grade. The average score Americans get on basic financial literacy questions is just 48%. That means most of us are flying blind with the one thing that impacts literally every decision we make.
Okay, but here's the good news. That all changes right now. We're going to fill in those gaps. This is the money class you never had, boiled down to the essentials. So let's just dive right in. First things first, before you can figure out where you're going, you got to know where you are right now. It's like firing up your GPS and finding that little blue dot that says, you are here. And to do that, there are really just 3 numbers you've got to know. These 3 things, they paint the whole picture of your financial health, your net worth, your monthly cash flow, and what I like to call your financial runway. So first up, net worth. This is the big one. It's kind of the ultimate scorecard of your financial life. And the math is super simple. Just add up everything you own, cash, investments, your car, whatever, and then subtract everything you owe, credit cards, student loans, you name it. That number is your net worth. And hey, you might be wondering if your number is good. Well, just to give you some perspective, here are the median numbers from the Federal Reserve. Look, if your number seems low, you are definitely not alone. The important thing isn't the number today, it's knowing it so you can watch it grow. All right, number 2 is your monthly cash flow. If your net worth is a scoreboard, your cash flow is the engine. It tells you if you're making progress each month or falling behind. Just take all the money coming in and subtract all the money going out. Is it positive or is it negative?
And the power of a positive cash flow is, well, it's just incredible. A surplus of just $300 a month, if you invest it, could grow to over $460,000 in 30 years. That's how small, steady habits can build a massive future.
And that brings us to the third number, your financial runway. Basically, how long could you survive if your paycheck just stopped? And this is where things get a little scary for a lot of people. This quote from the Fed says it all. Almost 40% of people are one tiny emergency away from financial trouble. Okay, so now that you've got your starting coordinates, it's time to build your defenses. We're talking about building a financial fortress so that life's little surprises don't turn into full-blown catastrophes. Now, I know the word budget makes everyone groan, right? But stop thinking of it as a restriction. It's just a plan for your money. A really great starting point is the 50-30-20 rule. 50% of your take-home pay goes to stuff you need, 30% to stuff you want, and a really important 20% goes to savings and paying off debt. And the cornerstone of that whole fortress? It's your emergency fund. And look, don't get freaked out by the idea of saving up 3 to 6 months of expenses. Just start small, even $25 a week. The real trick is to make it automatic, so you don't even have to think about it. And stick that cash in a high-yield savings account, so it's working for you, even just a little. All right, let's talk about the big one, debt. Especially high-interest debt. It's like trying to climb a mountain while dragging an anchor behind you. Getting rid of it, that is your path to real freedom. And if you don't think it's a big deal, just look at this. This is what happens when you only make the minimum payments on a credit card. A $5,000 debt can take you 30 years to pay off, and you end up paying back triple what you borrowed. The math is just brutal. So how do you fight back? Well, there are 2 main strategies, and there's no wrong answer here. The snowball method has you knock out your smallest debts first. It gives you these quick, motivating wins. The avalanche method has you attack the debt with the highest interest rate first, which saves you the most money in the long run. Honestly, the best one is the one you'll actually stick with. Okay, once your defenses are up and you're tackling debt, it's time for the really fun part. It's time to go on offense. This is where you start making your money work for you by planting your own money tree. We're talking about investing. And it all comes down to one magical idea you've probably heard of, compound interest. This quote says it perfectly. It's your money making money, and then that new money making even more money. It is the secret sauce to building wealth, and understanding it is everything. I mean, just look at this. It's wild. You start investing just $100 a month when you're 25. By the time you retire, thanks to compounding, you could have over $700,000. It feels like magic, but it's just math and time doing their thing. But
And this is a huge but. Look what happens if you wait. That same $100 a month, but starting just 10 years later at 35, you end up with less than half. That delay costs you hundreds of thousands of dollars. When it comes to investing, time is your absolute best friend.
So you're probably thinking, okay, great, but where do I actually put the money? Don't get overwhelmed. You can start really simple. First, if your job has a retirement plan with a match, put in enough to get that match. It is literally free money. Then, maybe open a Roth IRA for tax-free growth. And inside those accounts, start with something simple like a low-cost S&P 500 index fund. That's it. You're now an investor.
And that's it. The knowledge gap that maybe made you feel confused or anxious about money, it's gone. You now have the roadmap. You know your starting point, how to build your defenses, and how to build your wealth. So the only real question left is, what's your first move?